Hey guys, welcome to my channel. To start this pattern, we are going to take a marginal line right here at the top of our pattern, and from this line I am going to be taking all my measurements. Now I am going to take my waist to hip measurement, which is 8.5 inches, and it is often standard, but you can always go in and measure. Now I am taking where I want my blouse to stop, and I am adding 2 inches to that for hemming allowance. Now I will just connect all my lines. Now I would go in and take my hip circumference divided by 4, and I will place that right there, and I will add 1 inch for seam allowance. Now onto my waist, I will take my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll place that there, and I'll add 1 inch for that and 1 inch for seam allowance. Now next thing you need to do is to take your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. Mine is 8 divided by 2 is 4 inches. Now from your hip line, go upwards by 2 inches. And now we're going to connect our line. Now add ½ inch on each side of your line and connect your dot line to the 2 inches you marked upwards from your hip line. Now we are going to be taking our knee circumference, which is your hip circumference divided by 4 minus 2 inches if you're very curvy. If you're not so curvy, you can use -1.5. For a regular person, you can use -1 inch, or if you don't want it to be very penciled. Now I would use my hip circumference divided by 4, which is 12 inches minus 1 inch. I will place that right there, and 1 inch for seam allowance. Now what is left is to connect the lines together. Now please bear in mind that this is just a basic skirt pattern, and from this pattern we can make 6 pieces, 4 pieces, 8 pieces panel skirt, whatsoever we want to do with it. So I won't be altering this pattern, but for the sake of the people that want to add bands to their skirts, using this pencil, you can go downwards by 1 inch. That is, if your band is as high as 1 inch, you can go down by 1 inch. If your band is as high as 2 inch, it's best to go down by 2 inches. Now I will create my line right there. Now this will be your new line. And now from this new line, make sure you go downwards by 1 inch, because the front skirt always has a curve at the folded edge. Now this is how you create your curve, and this new curve will be your new cutout line. Now I will leave this like this, and I will show you how to do this on your fabric when you cut it out. And I will just go in and cut my pattern. Now make a fold on this line like this, and we will cut this pattern out. Make sure when cutting you have no sharp edges on your pattern. Watch how I created a curve right there, and keep cutting. Now this pattern is going to be for my back pattern, and I will just go on and place 1.5 inches at the folded edge of my fabric for my zipper allowance, and I just connected my zip line. Now I would place a marginal line at the top of my pattern right there. Now place the folded edge of your front pattern to the zip line of your back. and make sure it's in place. Now start tracing the front pattern on the back pattern. Now I will just go on and retrace the hemline, the hip line, and also my dart lines. Now once I am done doing that, I will take off my pattern and retrace all the lines on the back pattern. Now to be able to place my darts, I will mark my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 8 inches divided by 2, and that is 4, and I just marked it right there, and I would connect my line. Now from the hip line, go upwards by 1 inch. For the front, you go upwards by 2 inches, but for the back, you go upwards by 1 inch. Now I will just connect my dart lines from the 1 inch I marked. And now it's time to cut out our pattern. And now don't forget to cut open the center back for the zip. Now I will show you how to cut your pattern on your fabric. Place your fabric in half and place your pattern on it and just start cutting all around it as it is on your pattern. Now next thing you need to do is to start creating notches on the hemline and also on the hip line. This way you would know where the stains are when you are done, when you take out your pattern. And you can also see me placing my notches on my dart line. This way I know where my dart line is, and also my zip line. Now using my tape rule, I would go in and measure the length my dart is on my pattern. I have 7.5, and I would go on and use my, please do not use marker on your fabric. Now I am just using marker to make my notches visible, and I am opening up my center back line. Now I will take my 7.5 inch for the length of my darts, and I would connect my lines and also my dart lines. Now you can go on and connect your zipper line, and once you're done doing this, you can also connect your hemline. Now whatsoever you do on that side, make sure you do it on the other side of your center back. Now go down by 1 inch if your waistband is about 1 inch in length. If you're using 2 inch, go down by 2 inches. Now I would connect my line. Now I would also go upwards by 1/2 inch because I need seam allowance to join my skirt to my waistband. Now I will just mark 1/2 inch right there at the top, and I will cut this out. Now place your fabric in another fold again so as to cut out the front pattern on your fabric. Now place the folded edge on the folded edge of your fabric, and we're going to cut all the way around it. Now just like we did for the back, we're going to also place notches on the hemline, on the hip line, and also on our dart lines. Now using your tape rule, place and see how long your dart is. I have 6.5 inches. Now I'll take off my pattern and I'll place my good sides of my fabric together so I can mark on the wrong side of my fabric. Now using my marker, I'll just go in and mark all the notches I made on my fabric. Now I will place my 6.5 inches for the length of my dart, and I will just connect my dart lines. Now, just like I explained in my pattern, I am going to show you right now on my fabric. Now place 1 inch downwards on your pattern, just like we did for the back. That is the length you are taking for your waistband. You need to take it out on your skirts. Now once you've succeeded in doing that, on this folded edge of your fabric, on this point, go downwards by 1 inch. This is for your waist curve. Now connect your line like this. Now once we have done that, we need to add 1/2 inch so that we can join the fabric to the waistband. And now we'll just go upwards by 1/2 inch on each side, and we will just connect the lines. And once we've done that, we will just go on and cut this out, and our front skirt is ready. And you can just go on and cut these pieces on your lining if you're using lining to it. Stick around and we will make a pencil skirt tutorial. Make sure you like and subscribe. See you in my next video.